Hey guys, Cobalt Isaac here, and I'm really sorry for the delay in this video. I was planning on posting it like a few months ago, but it got delayed, and then I started getting new ideas. But anyways, I'm finally done making this video, as you're watching it right now. But, okay, so in case you haven't checked out my how to fix the DCEU video, basically a little recap. The DCEU sucks right now. Okay, the Justice League trailer looks really awesome, but I mean this is just how it should have been. You know, get a good start, and then it just goes from there. And I have like this huge plan, like I have all 7 phases planned out, and I kept like going back in the list and editing and changing what movies would go where, but now I'm very confident with the list, and there's like 90 movies scheduled. So yeah, there's 7 phases, deal with it. So the first movie in the entire DCEU would be Man of Steel. And I think we should just keep that in there. Man of Steel was good. Some people didn't like it, but it was good enough to leave in that universe. So, moving on. So, the second movie that we got in the DCEU was Batman v Superman. Now we're gonna start erasing things out of existence. You see, Man of Steel, keep it exactly the same. Batman v Superman, completely scrap it. Well, the movie will be called Batman and Robin. Yes, I know there's already a Batman and Robin movie, but that one kind of sucked. So this is a new Batman and Robin movie. And, I mean, a lot of people complain about Batman v Superman because we already know Batman's origin. So, my idea for this is have the main villain be Ra's al Ghul, but the story really mostly focuses on Dick Grayson. Like, Bruce Wayne has been Batman for a few months now, and you still get a little bit of his story, like, in flashbacks. Well, I mean, like, sort of like a 0-year story where it shows how he defeated the Red Hood gang. But yeah, it will mostly focus on Robin. It's kind of like the first episode of Doctor Who Series 1. If you haven't seen that, you should totally check that out. Which basically, like, we already had a Doctor Who series, and then we're kind of like relaunching it without taking anything out of canon. And basically what they did was have the companion Rose Tyler. The episode was kind of in her perspective as she was trying to figure out who the Doctor is. And I think that's kind of the style I want to do this Batman and Robin movie in. And not the entire Batman and Robin series will be like that. So again, it introduces us to the Dick Grayson Robin. And in flashbacks, Batman faces off the Red Hood gang. And if you don't know what that is, they were in Gotham, but the one I'm talking about is like, it's led by Red Hood 1. He's like their leader, and then all the other members, like, most of them aren't even criminals. They're just people that Red Hood 1 was able to blackmail or threaten so he could get them to do whatever he wants for them. And in the end, Red Hood 1 falls into Ace Chemicals, and it's heavily implied that he becomes the Joker. So, like, in a post-credit scene for the movie, we should have, like, in the flashbacks, Red Hood 1 climbing out of the chemical. Yeah. And that will kind of set up for the next Batman and Robin movie, which will have the Joker be the main villain, but that's not in Phase 1. So, or it might be, I don't know. But yeah, it just kind of sets the stage for the next movie. You know how some movies in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, some post-credit scenes set up the next movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and others just set up for the next movie in that individual series. So enough rambling. The next movie will be Wonder Woman. And the movie Wonder Woman hasn't come out yet, so I don't know if it's good or not. So I think they can keep it the way it was going to be. I mean, I don't know a ton about Wonder Woman and like her villains, but keep it very basic. I mean, if there's things that really tie into Batman v Superman in the Wonder Woman movie, keep those parts out for obvious reasons because it's not the same cinematic universe. But yeah, keep that in there. Also, going back to the whole Batman and Robin movie, keep Ra's al Ghul alive. Don't kill him off, because he's a major character and we'll need him. Okay, the fourth movie will be The Flash. And I don't have a huge plan for this, but the main villain will be Mirror Master. Basically, because if we used like Captain Cold or Reverse Flash, it's going to disappoint the fans because they're already major characters in the CW DC TV shows, and their characters are just really awesome, and it's really bad to compete with them this early on. And then the fifth movie will be Green Lantern Corps, which will focus on Hal Jordan, but the other like main protagonists, like kind of like within their little squad, will be Kilowog and Sinestro. And the main villain will be Larfleeze, because, I mean, we're not going to have Sinestro as the main villain of the first movie, because there's a lot that sets up Sinestro. Like, he started off as a hero, and I don't like when it's basically the hero turns evil just at the end of the movie, and he was the main villain. No, don't do that. They need to... But Sinestro will be turning evil in it. So basically what happens, Larfleeze kidnaps Carol Ferris, like, before Hal gets the Green Lantern ring, like, right before, pretty much. So he has the willpower to go rescue her. And the Green Lantern Corps is trying to face Larfleeze. Like, he is a major threat to the Corps. And basically, near like the climax, Sinestro will find out that Larfleeze is about to attack Korugar, which is his home planet, and Sinestro is freaking out. Like, he doesn't even use the Corps or the Guardians for help. He's like, yeah, this is my responsibility, my sector, and he goes there, and before Larfleeze is able to get there and attack, he demands that he is in charge of the entire planet. Like, yeah, you can trust me, I'm a Green Lantern, and the current leader of the planet, or king, I don't know what he will be, refuses to give up his power, and Sinestro just threatens him, which obviously the Guardians wouldn't have wanted from him. I mean, he doesn't actually kill their leader, but he does enslave Korugar, and they do end up defeating Larfleeze, but at the expense that, yeah, they just imprison Korugar, and Sinestro will have to face the consequences, so he is thrown into prison, basically. And also, this might be a good time to introduce the Indigo tribe, or maybe not yet. maybe they should wait until like a lot later. Yeah, we'll keep Indigo Tribe out of this. But Carol Ferris is exposed to these pink gems while she's in possession of Larfleeze. Well, while Larfleeze is our prisoner. And that kind of sets the stage for her becoming Star Sapphire. Because if you didn't know, Star Sapphire was Carol Ferris and she was a villain. But then eventually the Star Sapphires were an entire Lantern Corps for good. Like, they were the good guys. But I still want to set up that. And Larfleeze is defeated, but not killed. And he makes a deal with, like, the Guardians. Like, yeah, you leave me alone, we leave you alone. Also, give the Guardians more of a character. Because in the Green Lantern movie that we actually got with Ryan Reynolds, the Guardians just looked dumb because they were like these really tall things when they're really like really short. They're basically Smurfs. And I think the Guardians should have personality even though they don't have emotion. But like in the Green Lantern movie, the Guardians weren't even called by their names, so you don't know any of their names. And there are some important Guardians like Ganthet and Sade. Ganthet is the only Guardian who kept his emotions. Maybe Sade kept her emotions also. And yeah, that's about it for the Green Lantern Corps movie. Okay, so movie number 6. It will be Green Arrow. Now, I actually came up with a really good plan for the Green Arrow trilogy, which will kind of be a trilogy, even though he'll be appearing in other films. But basically, like, the main 3 movies will be, like, I think my idea is so good that it will be up there with, like, the Dark Knight trilogy, because my idea is just genius if done right. So, the first Green Arrow movie will just be Oliver on the island. Like, he gets home at the end, but it's just him on the island. And so basically it starts off, he's been on the island for a few years now, and he's been trained by Yao Fei, who was the Chinese guy who kind of trained him in season 1 of Arrow. And they finally have an opportunity to get off the island because there are these people who are searching the island, but they're the bad guys. They're all working for Slade Wilson, aka Deathstroke. And yeah, I think Deathstroke should be the main villain of Green Arrow. Originally I was going to have him just be introduced to the Teen Titans, and that's how we, finally see Deathstroke for the first time. But I still think my new idea is better. So, yeah, there are flashbacks of to when, like, Oliver was stranded on the island, which will be more New 52 comic book accurate, where basically Oliver and his friend Tommy Merlin are, like, at this party on, like, some sort of oil drill or whatever, and, these robbers attack, and the owner of the oil rig is like, just leave them alone, this happens all the time, just let them take all the stuff and no one gets hurt, please. And the boss in charge is like, yeah, I've got this detonator, if you get anywhere near me, I'm gonna hit the trigger. And Oliver, who is already a skilled archer, takes out his bow and arrow and shoots at the robber, but the robber drops the trigger and the button falls right on top of, like, lands on the ground, pushing it, and the entire oil rig explodes, and everyone in it. And everyone except for Oliver and Tommy. And Tommy, look, his face is all burnt up. He's practically Two-Face by now. He says to Oliver, "This isn't the last death that will be caused by you." And then Tommy dies, and they drift away, and Oliver is stranded on Lian-Yu. And it will already be established that Robert Queen is already dead at this point, and so again, they find these kind of invaders on the island who are working for Deathstroke, and Oliver and Yao Fei are kind of fighting them off, trying to steal their ride off the island, and then they go into like one of the camps that belongs to Deathstroke's clan, and they see a boy who's their prisoner, and this boy is actually Roy Harper, aka Speedy / Arsenal / Red Arrow. So, they rescue him, but they're like, yeah, you need to stay out of this. This is our fight. You're just a kid. And so Yao Fei and Oliver eventually have to face off Deathstroke. And Deathstroke kills Yao Fei, and Oliver eventually gets the upper hand on Deathstroke and, stabs him in the eye with the arrow, making him have to have an eye patch, which this actually kills him because it goes right through his brain. So, he actually, Deathstroke dies in this, but, no one ever stays dead. And in this universe, I'm trying to keep the amount of deaths minimal, because the Marvel Cinematic Universe just kills off all of their villains. And in the original Spider-Man trilogy, all the villains end up just killing themselves. That's pretty much it. So, yeah, Oliver and Roy end up getting off the island, but they're still sad about the loss of Yao Fei. And, they're reunited with their home, and it kind of shows in the end how Oliver's like this new vigilante called the Green Arrow, and Roy isn't going with him, but Roy's kind of training with Green Arrow, but he's not ready to be on the field yet, but he will be soon. So that's it for the Green Arrow movie. Next will be Hawkman and Hawkgirl, which don't have a big plan for that. And also, in case you haven't noticed, I did Green Arrow, then Hawkman and Hawkgirl. Yes, I'm doing what the Marvel Cinematic Universe didn't do to mix things up a bit. You see, Marvel Cinematic Universe only set up Iron Man, Hulk, Thor, and Captain America, and then did the Avengers movie. But this is setting up characters who aren't going to be in the Justice League. Well, I mean, they'll eventually join the Justice League, but they're not going to be the founding members. That way, we already have these characters set up, and it's not like Phase 1 is just purely setting up for the Justice League movie. So I just thought that would be cool if they did that. Okay, so movie number 8 will be Green Lantern / Green Arrow, which Green Lantern, Green Arrow was a popular series in the 80s because Green Lantern wasn't really a popular character, but Green Arrow, like, a lot of people enjoyed his character, and that was the only series he was in. So, this will, like, by now Roy Harper is Speedy and is going out in the field, but, so, Green Lantern kind of meets Green Arrow when Star Sapphire, aka Carol Ferris, which we set up in the Green Lantern Corps movie, we he's having trouble fighting this Star Sapphire, and eventually the fight goes to Starling City, Which, by the way, Star Sapphire is hunting down Hal Jordan, not knowing that he's Green Lantern. And, basically this movie implies that they've been fighting for a while, and at this point, Green Lantern knows that Carol is Star Sapphire, but the audience doesn't know. Most of the audience doesn't even know that, she is Star Sapphire, unless you're a comic book fan, or you've watched some sort of media, or your friends just told you, or you looked it up. But, it's still sort of a big reveal, but not like super huge that not meant to be super huge so that people are disappointed like, yeah, that truly was not a big reveal. So, the fight ends up going to Starling City, and eventually Green Lantern has to confess to Green Arrow that, yeah, this is actually my girlfriend Carol, and kind of explains what happened, like how Larfleeze captured her, and that something must have been done to her during that time. And, we still get a good amount of Roy Harper, and now this is just a little nod to the comics, so the real reason he is called Red Arrow, like the first time that name was actually mentioned, was in the Green Lantern Green Arrow comics, when Hal accidentally calls Roy by his real name, like out in public, so he's like, yeah, thanks, Red Arrow, and it kind of just rolled off the tongue. He just came up with it on the spot, but it's not going to be his official name. He'll still be Speedy for most of the DCEU. Eventually, they're going to change his name to Arsenal when he gets older. Well, it's not much of an age thing. It's more of there's going to be an event that happens. But anyways, they're able to reverse the effects of Star Sapphire, and they're able to create the entire Star Sapphire Corps, and Carol Ferris kind of joins the Star Sapphires, becomes their leader, and she's kind of part of like Team Green Lantern Corps, like with Hal and Kilowog and Jon Stewart, who will be in the second Green Lantern Corps movie, which I haven't gotten to yet, which that's actually going to be a Phase 2 thing. So, spoiler alert, not really. But then, after that movie, will be movie number 9. Okay, so movie number 9 will be Wonder Woman 2. Yeah, now we're getting into some of the sequels before we actually get to the Justice League movie. Which I guess Green Lantern Green Arrow was sort of sequel, more of a crossover, but I don't know, I don't care what you would want to call it. So Wonder Woman 2, you see that she's on the mainland, and she's fighting alongside Donna Troy, aka Wonder Girl. And yeah, again, don't have much of a plan for her. I mean, it's not really my job to do this. So, yeah. Then the 10th movie will be called Flash, Rise of the Rogues. And we've already been introduced to Mirror Master, and we've also, like, a few of the other rogues that just weren't huge threats. Like, maybe Weather Wizard was captured in the first movie, or this movie. But eventually, Captain Cold unites the rogues, and there's an ultimate face-off in the end. Hopefully it's a good movie. Also, this is when we're introduced to Kid Flash. Not like in a post-credit scene, but like in the main plot, like Wally West becomes Kid Flash near the beginning. Because, eventually we're going to have a Teen Titans movie, which you're all excited for, I'm guessing. And now, movie number 11 which is the final movie of the DCEU Phase 1. And that movie is Hawkman. Yeah, so you see, Phase 1 is going to be setting up for the Justice League, but the Justice League movie will actually be the first one in Phase 2. So, the Aquaman movie, it will probably just be him versus Ocean Master. And we'll probably have Aqualad, not the black Aqualad, the white one, Garth Williams, who later becomes Tempest. Because, he ends up in the Teen Titans, and we've got to set up most of these characters already. So, yeah. Hope you enjoyed my video. Hope you're excited for Phase 2. And remember, this will all be in a playlist called How the DCEU Should Have Been. And it won't be the first in the playlist because I'll also have the How to Fix the DCEU video in it. So, hope you guys enjoyed. Bye.